Hello, I am the Witch of Jasmine and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a reading for Capricorn moons. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. There we go. So, as I'm shuffling out these cards, I invite you to take some deep breaths. Oh, whoa. Okay, those came out very quickly. That's good. Yeah, usually that means there must be a lot going on. There's some stuff we gotta talk about. Good or bad, who knows? Interesting. But anyway, I was trying to say, take some deep breaths. Ground yourself, center yourself. Get nice and comfy. I've got my executive producer who is playing her thumping game in the background. That's what I call, oh, that's so interesting. We had 1, 2, and then 1, 2. That's what I call Halen, my cat. She's my executive producer because she is so dedicated to always being in here with me when I'm filming. She's usually either playing around or sleeping, but I told her, it's your job, you gotta show up today. Okay, anyway, Capricorn moons. Let's get into it. For the Oracle card, we have regeneration. With Aries and fire. Interesting. And then for the tarot cards, we have 3 of Swords, Page of Wands, and 2 of Wands. Then 7 of Chalices, the Oak King, aka the Hanged Man, and 4 of Pentacles. Ooh, all right. So we definitely have some new chapter vibes, right? That's what this regeneration is about. I mean, especially especially having this Aries and fire, and we got all this Wands energy too here. A lot of creativity, a lot of creating something new, making something new, starting something new, or maybe a new perspective on something, a new, what is that word? Like a new method, a new, trying something new, doing something a little different. I cannot think of the word I'm looking for, but a new a new approach. That's what I'm feeling like this is. But doing, trying something new. That's what I mean. Okay, anyway. So we do have this 3 of Swords here, which is heartbreak, right? It's getting stabbed in the heart 3 times with 3 swords. It's that kind of heartbreaking pain, Having the 7 of Chalices, aka 7 of Cups below that indicates some sort of decision, right? That I think explains what the situation was about. But specifically with 7 of Cups, when we're talking about this decision to make these kinds of choices, it's about things not being exactly what they seem, right? So when we're talking about this kind of heartbreak, it makes me think that, which I should say this definitely does feel like it's in the past. All of this is just a response to this. But of course, because this is a general reading, you can place yourself wherever you're at in this timeline. But whatever this heartbreak was about, it was because of, or at least in part of, because of this. That's a weird way to say that. Partly because of this 7 of Chalices, which is a decision where your options aren't super clear. There are things that seem one way, but they're actually another. There's usually a feeling of like illusion or trickery or deception, things like that. So depending on what this reading is really about for you, Personally, I think this was probably a result of this, either on your end or somebody else's end, right? But it's coming up in this reading because as you move on to these next things, it's important to keep this in mind. I think that's a big lesson that you are meant to learn from that heartbreak. And of course, I know when you say heartbreak, you typically think of like a relationship, but I really mean that in the broadest sense, right? Maybe it was a job that you were like super hopeful for, or something in college that you really wanted to study and you really thought you were going to pursue, but it just didn't work out. Things like that, you know. And the lesson going forward, at least that this reading wants to highlight right now, is about understanding that very often in life, things are not what they seem. And it's very, very important to be able to, number one, just have that, just acknowledge that fact that, hey, this looks really, really great. Maybe this even looks too good to be true. Let me make sure I'm getting some really unbiased and clear information as best as I can, you know? Or sometimes it just happens. Sometimes that stuff just happens. It's as painful and frustrating and sometimes even life-changing as it is to go through. It actually is very common. People go through that kind of stuff all the time, right? So it's about learning from that and moving on. So moving forward to this Page of Wands. Page of Wands is a very exciting card. It represents somebody who is ready for a change, ready for an adventure. You know, Wands is about that fiery energy of ambition and wanting to see the world and wanting to do things, want to accomplish things, right? So I do see that here, right? We even have this person here who's ready to go down that path and see what's around them. The one thing I will mention with Page of Wands, though, is that you'll see that, like, yes, they're about to go on this little journey, but they don't have that much with them, right? They don't have even a jacket, right? They don't have many supplies or tools with them. So Page of Wands, and not necessarily in a bad way, but just by its nature, Page of Wands is about being a beginner or a novice, right? Not having all of the information that they need quite yet. And that's okay, because when you're a beginner at something, when you're starting something new, that's just how it works, you know? So I think going forward with this situation, as exciting as that is, and there's definitely good energy surrounding it, we have this Oak King down here, and he represents being able to really wait before he acts too much. You know what I mean? Kind of pausing, looking around, you know? Understanding, kind of like what we were talking about here, he doesn't know, having that awareness that he doesn't know everything yet, right? Having that awareness that, like, okay, I packed all of these things. I don't know what I'm really gonna find. Hopefully this is enough. There's a chance that it won't be, but I you know, just having that awareness, really. Again, not necessarily in an ominous way. I just mean that in a very neutral way. And I am emphasizing all of this too because the other thing that the Oak King represents here, you see how he's hanging? You know, this is the equivalent of the Hanged Man. He's hanging and he's upside down. Oh, I guess I'll just show you up close. He's upside down, right? The other meaning this card has is seeing things from a different perspective, right? The Oak King, he is thinking, He is pondering. There's something on his mind, And essentially he was like, well, I'm standing upright and I can't figure out whatever it is I'm trying to figure out. So let me try hanging upside down and maybe that will help. It's about seeing things from a different perspective, thinking outside the box a little bit, but also at the same time, generally feeling in this reading that it's a very good idea for you to be cautious, right? And that doesn't mean losing this very exciting fire energy, but it's about being cautious. Trying not to be naive. So going forward after that, we do have this Two of Wands, which is about planning. So I think one thing specifically that would really benefit you going into this next thing is taking the time to really make solid plans, right? When you can. But when you make those plans, one thing I want you to keep in mind specifically has to do with this Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles is, if you can imagine somebody who grew up with, not that much money, not that many resources, right? Had to work really hard just to, or, their family or whatever had to work really hard just to get a little, right? But now that they've grown up and made something of themselves, they are very abundant. They have all of the things that they need and more, right? But they still have this feeling of like everything could be taken away at any second, right? Which I think, especially in the context of this reading, this, judging from all of this, looks like it was probably something pretty sudden, something you didn't quite expect, right? Maybe you were a bit blindsided. So I think you might be carrying that feeling forward of like, if this is about a relationship, feeling like, oh God, like, this next person is making me feel this way and I love it and I really enjoy being with them. I really want to make this work, but hopefully he doesn't break up with me tomorrow. Hopefully, this one fight we had, this one disagreement we have doesn't blow everything up and then it's just suddenly done, or maybe even a feeling of you don't deserve it for whatever reason, right? It's that struggle to see what you have around you and feel secure in it, right? Again, if it's about some sort of job, not being scared that like one wrong move and I'm fired, or like I'm barely hanging on by a thread here. Like I know I have this job that I've really wanted all this time, or, I'm in this college or whatever, this university that I've wanted to be in. And like, I just feel like if I make one wrong move, I'm going to fail. If I make one wrong move, I'm going to get fired. That kind of stress, which of course, in some circumstance, or to some extent is helpful, right? It keeps you trying hard. But obviously it does get to a point where that stress is no longer helpful. It's just hurting you and making the whole situation much more difficult. So as you make some plans and figure out, get yourself organized, figure out how you're going to be moving forward, keep that in mind, that you might still be feeling this way even when things are all good and you're off on that new path, off on that new journey. You might still be feeling that way, and it's a good idea for you to try to minimize that as much as possible. Again, a little bit can be helpful, but there's that line, where it's like, okay, I'm just trying to go to sleep and my brain won't shut up. My brain won't stop talking and there's nothing I can do, So, okay, Capricorn moons. I think this was a pretty straightforward reading overall. But if you have any questions or if you'd like any part of this clarified, please let me know. You can leave a comment or you can just reach out to me, whichever you prefer. I do want to say I don't have any bad feelings about this. I hope it doesn't come across that way. that you like should be nervous or whatever. I think in any capacity, being able to pick yourself up from this and move on is difficult enough, right? That's not easy for anyone. So kudos to you for doing that. I'm wishing you lots and lots of luck with that. And I'm excited. You gotta love a whole bunch of fire energy, right? It's always nice. Especially since we're getting close to an Aries full moon. That's some nice timing for you. But anyway, I gotta mention, I almost completely forgot. I just posted today, or announced today, that because I have finally hit 300 subscribers, I'm doing a free 30-minute tarot reading giveaway. I loved doing the other one, so I'm so excited to do another one. If you'd like to enter the giveaway, I have a link in the description below. It's super simple. All you have to do is be subscribed to me, as well as fill out a really short Google Doc, and then you'll be entered. So if you're interested in that, highly recommend. But regardless of that, thank you so much for subscribing and staying around. I really, really appreciate every single one of you. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!